And boy, was she fantastic in their last outing against Virginia Tech. Made several plays in the waning moments of that game, including scoring, getting a steal. She was a gamer for Jeff Walls, and the senior came up big.
Yeah, that was by far the closest game of the year for Louisville. They were able to come from behind to win. So Louisville in their home whites, and Elizabeth Dixon, who is starting for Cochran, gets them going. Dixon has been on fire from the floor in her last few games. There's the starting five for Amanda Butler's team. Delisha Washington, the grad transfer from Florida, has been a terrific addition. Kendall Spray, one of the best three-point shooters in the country. And that is Amari Robinson, who has just been called for a charge.
I like the call, though, by Amanda Butler, knowing that Cochran is not in the lineup. She tries to go inside into the post and get an easy score for Robinson. And Kono does a nice job there defensively.
Van Lith, talk about one of the best freshmen. She's in the conversation for National Freshman of the Year, and she was able to get the basket. And now we see some pressure from Louisville. Again, just 7 players are dressed and available for the Cardinals. So we will see how that plays out as the game continues. Washington.
That's an excuse me, Pam. That was Robinson with that defense. I can't even really tell who's on the floor. I'm trying to adjust my eyes to this lineup for Louisville.
Yeah, all sorts of different Louisville players we're not used to seeing out there. But we're used to seeing number 1, Dana Evans, the most important person in this offense. Mikasa Robinson gets it over to Van Lith. A little bit off the mark.
Well,
and the ball was taken down. Sorry.
Can still play their 4-out, 1-in style with this group. With Dixon on the interior, they would normally have 4 guards in with 1 post. And they can still execute that with this lineup. But what you're thinking off the top is you cannot afford to get in foul trouble if you are Louisville. We may see Clemson try to attack them. They do a nice job in getting to the free throw line. And Jeff Walls actually talked to us about his team not fouling. So this will be the kind of game while you're shorthanded to make sure you don't get into foul trouble.
Yeah, you're right about Clemson. They are actually 3rd in the nation as far as free throw attempts. They take almost 22 per game on average. Back off of her. She's not really known for her outside shooting. Kendall Spray is, but that one is well short. And Mikasa Robinson tried to save it in. The ball will stay with Clemson. Want to remind you the officials. Sorry, Karen Pareto, Thomas Danaher, Jeffrey Smith. Sorry, LaChina.
One thing you see defensively is Van Lith guarding Gabby Elliott. Right now she's switched on to Robinson, but that will be a key matchup with 2 freshmen, 2 of the best, not only in the ACC, but in the country, matched up today.
Amanda Butler's done a tremendous job. Her 3rd season at Clemson, took them to the NCAA tournament in her 1st season, was the ACC Coach of the Year. And they come in on a little bit of a slide. They've lost back-to-back games to Miami and Georgia Tech, and she was kidding with us. It's like, yeah, great, now we have to go to Louisville. Not exactly where you want to be to try to break out of a slide. Washington now has 4 points.
Beautiful move there by Washington. Louisville playing a little bit of switching man, and she gets a shorter Van Lith on her and just rises and fires. She has that type of explosiveness in her offense.
Ball was given up. Kiana Smith, the Cal transfer. And Washington's off to a hot start.
Gabby Elliott, so smooth in transition. Boy, not only is Clemson led by their guards who can go to the glass and bust out in transition, but if they get a defensive stop, watch out, because Washington and Elliott can be a lot of fun in the open court.
Jeff Walls, who has been absolutely tremendous in his 12th season at Louisville. His team 9-0 on the season. They have been in the 2nd slot behind Stanford for 5 straight weeks. They're coming off a stretch of 4 games in 7 days. Louisville, maybe as much as any team in the country, has really had to jerry-rig their schedule to get games in because of COVID. They were not supposed to be playing Clemson today, for instance. Outside shot is nailed by Kiana Smith. Smith, the best three-point shooter percentage-wise anyway on this team.
Yeah, she's coming off of a tough outing from long range against Virginia Tech, so it's good to see that go in. But you're right, Pam, she shoots about 40% from long range.
coming over from Cal. And let's take a look at the schedule. On the left, this is the way the first several games were supposed to be. And on the right is teams they actually played. There are only 3 opponents so far in Eastern Kentucky, Duke, as Washington and Elliott continue to do most of the damage. So Washington now with 6, but the schedule really has had to be changed around. And Smith misses that time. Louisville actually went through a span of 18 straight days where they could do nothing because of the COVID.
And you've got to credit Jeff Walsh for how he's gotten out, scheduled, and put his team in position to have opportunities to play. And in transition, Dana Evans, boy, I like the pace of this game so far. Both of these teams really getting up and down.
Evans gives Louisville the 10-8 lead.
And this is where Clemson sometimes struggles offensively. They're very good in transition off of the defensive glass, off of a steal, off of a defensive stop. But in the half court, especially with Spray not shooting well from 3, not really getting as many looks, it's been tough to come by offense in the half court for the Tigers.
Both teams like to get the ball and push it up the floor. Jeff Wall's very concerned about taking on this Clemson team, and he talked about particularly how well their guards rebound the basketball. Delisha Washington and Gabby Elliott, who have been their scorers so far today, also are their top 2 rebounders, and that's really the key, right? They get the defensive rebound. They don't have to do an outlet pass. They can just push it up and get the offense going themselves. Inside of Balagoon, but that steps taken by Neek Cherry, who has given Amanda Butler some great minutes off the bench this year. Neek shuffled her feet.
And Cochran actually has checked into the ball game for Louisville.
Every player available to play today, only 7 of them warmed up. Olivia Cochran, who did not get the start, has indeed checked in. So Louisville now is playing at full strength. We're not going to guess why this happened, but I think we have a pretty good idea. But the good news is everybody is available for the Cardinals. Good news for everybody, unless you're a Clemson fan, that is.
Yeah. Now Louisville back at full tilt, number 2 team in the country. And this is their normal starting lineup now out on the floor with Cochran accompanying Smith, Evans, Balagoon, and Van Lith.
A very formidable starting lineup indeed. Kendall Spray, about 80% of the shots she's taken this year have been from 3. She swooshed that too. Spray, the transfer from Tennessee Martin, has really given Clemson a shot in the arm from the outside the last couple of years. Cochran can't get it, rolls off of the rim.
Look how quickly Gabby Elliott can get down the floor.
And exactly, that is what Coach Walls told us was his biggest concern. Elliott rebounds it and then quickly brings it up. They were unable to convert that, but Elliott is a freshman from Detroit. She was a very good prospect. Michigan's Miss Basketball, and boy, Coach Butler gives a lot of credit to Daniel Barber, her assistant, who was the lead recruiter, to get a player like Elliott to come to this program. It was a big get.
She's 5'10" and has shot over 50% from the field in 5 of her first 6 ACC games, so she's extremely comfortable playing at this level and is athletic, can rebound it, is dynamic, sees the floor, has had some turnover issues, which is to be expected with an offense that has struggled as of recent, but I am just so impressed with Gabby Elliott and her knowledge of the game, the way she approaches it, just very, very confident.
And Coach Butler says she's very tuned into the game. High basketball IQ, has worked very hard and has been a starter since the day she stepped on campus. But right now, Elliott is taking a break on the bench for Clemson. Evans with the shot clock getting skinnier, got it stripped away by Neek Cherry, who can cause some havoc in that Clemson defense. There's Neek looking now for some help.
Clemson has got to get Kendall Spray loose for some three-point looks. It is so important, but at the same time, they have to be aggressive in driving the ball, moving without the ball. Cherry trying to make something happen there is called for a travel. But I mentioned how stagnant their offense can be in stretches. They only scored 55 points in their loss to Georgia Tech. And I know Amanda Butler likes to hang her hat on defense, but 55 points is really not going to be enough to win an ACC game against a very good Georgia Tech team. But what she wants to see happen is for her defense to lead to that much-needed offense.
Yeah, 55 points, the least amount of points they have scored in any game this season. That was the 5th Clemson turnover. Balagoon from the outside. Cochran fights for the rebound and saves it into Kono, but then Spray knocked it away. Destiny Thomas out in the open floor, and she just blew the layup. It looked like a classic Clemson break, but Thomas couldn't score. Evans drew contact.
Dana Evans does such a nice job of attacking the middle of the floor in transition. She gets there so that she can have passing options. She's gotten better as a passer in their offense and not just looking to get to the rim. Incredibly hard for the defense to have to defend when she has the floor spread.
Head coach Jeff Walls particularly was impressed with some of the plays she made against Virginia Tech. That tight game that they won when she drove and passed out of it, and kind of making defenses, as you said, LaChina, just totally rethink what Evans is going to do. Will she shoot or will she pass? Which just makes her so lethal, as if she wasn't lethal enough already. Amari Robinson, now this is a player who was a freshman Clemson had to rely on to score a lot. Their second leading scorer last year behind Kobe Thornton, who graduated. Her role has changed, and she's doing so many things so well. Even though her numbers are down. Cochran, that's a tough check for anybody. Bennett, good defense by Skyler.
Bennett is one of the best post defenders, not just in the ACC, but in the country, with her shot blocking, the way she can challenge shots at the rim. She's long, athletic. Really love the way she goes after it on the defensive end of the floor.
Bennett second in the league in blocks so far this season. Veronica Hipp, number 4 in orange, checking in. Polish freshman guard. Whistle. Dana Evans has just picked up her first personal foul. Louisville tied up at 12 apiece with Clemson. Louisville is unbeaten on the year, and they have led after each and every quarter all season long, but in a bit of a dogfight right now with Clemson. Spray got it blocked. And now Louisville on the run. And a good way for Kiana Smith to be rewarded. She got the block and then finished on the other end.
Yeah, we don't talk about Kiana Smith's defense enough. She has come in and really given the offense a punch. We mentioned her three-point shooting earlier, but she often gets the assignment of the toughest perimeter offensive player. She and Balagoon are very good defensively, but that time Kiana takes it away from Spray.
And now Cochran's turn to block a shot. Washington gets in on the scrum. Held ball, possession arrow will send it over to Louisville. See, this Louisville team have been winning by at least 10 points per game until that close one that we have referenced a few times against Virginia Tech, when they won by 4, had to come from behind to do that. And Coach Walsh thinks that was good medicine for his team, especially the younger players, to know how to play and respond on the big stage in a close game. Evans, pull up. What can't she do offensively, LaChina?
Well, when you need a bucket, go to Dana Evans, because she can find one no matter where the clock is, no matter where she is on the floor. She'll get called for a tough one there. And I thought she really got roughed up some in that Virginia Tech game and maintained her composure despite some very obvious physicality.
And that's 2 fouls on Dana Evans. 2 fouls on her, so she's going to have to sit. Just under 39 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Evans so far with 5 points and a couple of rebounds. But one less weapon on the floor. Washington turns around and puts it in with one hand. Delisha Washington with 8 of Clemson's 14 points. Shot clock off to the Cardinals. So remember, Evans isn't there. Van Lith gets trapped. Cochran just bowls her way down the lane and put a little bit too much on it. Washington has to hurry. Washington unable to get a shot off. Louisville, most anticipated regular season game in the conference because they only play each other once.
Yeah, very important game, and obviously with the timing of everything that's happened with NC State due to COVID-19, you're just hoping that both teams are healthy and ready to go. You would just hate for anyone to have to play without players or for that game to get canceled or postponed, because we've had it circled on the calendar.
Oh, yeah. Hannah Hank able to sneak in to get the offensive putback. First quarter, Clemson hitting the paint. Now 12 of their 16 points have come in the paint, including that Hank basket. Pam Ward and LaChina Robinson joining you, and a little bit of a delay on this game. Olivia Cochran has so much skill as a freshman.
And Clemson will do some switching. So when she has a smaller defender on her, she is going to look to attack. Very physical for a freshman and shooting the ball at a high percentage from the field.
Hank again. Hey, Hannah Hank, only averaging about 3 points per game, has 4 quick ones, the sophomore from Australia.
And they need some more production from the post if you're the Clemson Tigers, in particular on offense. So it's good to see the pick and roll execution. And that time the outside shot from Van Lith.
One of 2 freshmen along with Cochran, who have been in the starting lineup for Jeff Walz all year. And that's a throwaway right into the hands of Mikasa Robinson. Dana Evans, who has 2 fouls, did not start the second quarter, and the floater for Kiana Smith.
And that's how quickly scoring can happen in transition for both of these teams. You have to get back, get your shoulders squared, and try to get between the ball handler and the bucket pretty quickly, because if not, you're going to get 2 scored on you, or even 3 on a kick out.
Elliott tied up by Robinson. He doesn't want to let go of the basketball. This 5-point lead for Louisville is the biggest for either team this afternoon.
Robinson, one of the toughest defenders on this Louisville roster. She's a little further down the rotation this season, just depending on what Jeff Walz needs. He has Alana Smith, who has also come in as a formidable defender, but also brings some scoring. But Mikasa Robinson never gives up on a play. Right here, just disruptive. Look at the denial. Get the tie-up. I mean, that is tough defense.
Van Lith can't deliver. Rebound taken down by Amari Robinson. Quickly up to Washington, or to Elliott, excuse me, who shows her speed. And look at the way they back off Bennett. Dixon daring her to take that shot, and it worked out for Bennett.
But Bennett's been knocking that shot down this season. I mean, she has more confidence in her offensive game than we've seen. Her junior year kind of dipped in her contributions on the offensive end, but we're seeing a more confident, more of the sophomore version of Bennett this year.
Yep, her average per game was only about 2 points last year, as you mentioned, and she's hitting 55% of her shots from the floor, so definitely a different look for Bennett. Mertens in the game, couldn't get that to fall, but fought nicely to keep the possession alive. Now Bennett, they're going to say she was held by Dixon. Elizabeth Dixon had her freshman year at Georgia Tech, made the all-freshman team that year. This is her second year playing for Louisville. And her offensive production has been more efficient this season so far.
I'm impressed with Louisville's defensive scheme as they are prepared for the handoff action of Clemson. They've been able to break up the handoff, put their body between the ball handler and the basket, even using their hands and arms to get it tied up. Just really, really nice execution defensively against that scheme.
Kiana Smith left open, top of the key, just skimmed off. Bennett able to rip it away from Van Lith. Now here's Elliott. Good defense. Tell you what, I heard Jeff Walls clearly say, nice Kiana. He liked the way that Smith got back on defense there. Kiana Smith has been just a tremendous addition. Redshirted last year. She was all freshman Pac-12 when she was at Cal. Veronica Hip coming in. There's the shooter spray going to the bench for Clemson. Washington works into the paint and drew a foul. First one on Van Lith. Alicia Washington off the bounce, able to get her own rebound. But she fouled in order to get to there.
Washington's a very good guard rebounder leading this team. And so she's always looking to go to the glass on a miss. That time picks up a foul.
Yeah, pardon me. Yeah, the leading rebounder on this team, averaging just under 6 per game. Leading rebounder as a guard. Van Lith gives it over to Robinson, who again is not much of an offensive threat, but she can pass. Finds Dixon, who finds the bottom of the net.
A year ago, there's a good chance that Elizabeth Dixon would have missed that bucket, even though she was at point-blank range. But her confidence, she is shooting 60% from the field, only shot 50% last year, and has also improved her free throw shooting. So just her overall touch is much better this year.
85% from the line this year, which is tremendous. Destiny Thomas got it rejected. Kiana Smith doing everything.
Kiana Smith is going to have a defensive highlight package coming out of this one. Thomas looks to get to the rim. Says Kiana Smith. Nothing has gotten by her. Does a nice job of body control, just using the arms, doesn't foul. She is locked in.
Has a couple of those blocks for Louisville. Rebound taken down by Dixon, who gets it over to Smith. Head up. A little bit too strong, but a good rebound by Dixon, but she got tied up. And a little extra after the fact there. Delisha Washington kind of barking a bit. And watch Amanda Butler. She's taking her right out of the game.
Yeah, there's been a little back and forth. I think that was Washington on the other end of the floor as well on a tie-up. And so you see her there really upset, and Amanda Butler picks up on that and addresses it immediately. Tells her to check out of the game, gets a sub, and I believe there was a technical foul call.
Yes, Washington has indeed been called for a technical foul, so she sits down. Van Lith, who is 89% from the free throw line, hits the free throw. And remember, Washington played for Coach Butler at the University of Florida and transferred over to Clemson to close out her career with her coach. But Amanda was having none of that and sat her down so she could cool off.
Well, that's the right call, the technical, because it was clear that Washington was trying to engage in more conversation after the whistle had blown and even move towards the group of players there that had assembled. And so Amanda Butler's going to let her sit down and think about it. And that's a tough loss for Clemson because they rely on Washington for so much on both ends.
And those technical free throws shot by Van Lith were the first free throws of the game taken by either team. Robinson, of all people, hits the shot from the outside, averaging fewer than a point per game this year. coming into the second quarter. Dana Evans sitting with 2 fouls, and Jeff Walls' team still has extended its lead to 9 points.
It's had everything to do with their defense. Robinson, Kiana Smith, 2 players in particular that have been excellent in getting stops for Louisville, tying up the basketball, just really being in good position, defending the rim. It's been fun to watch, honestly.
Danae McNeil just in off the bench, hit a shot for Clemson. Rebound battle for Dixon, able to tap it to herself. A little bit too strong off the glass on the follow attempt.
Yeah, Clemson came out in a zone out of that timeout. Amanda Butler trying to change things up. And Clemson is a team that will change up their defenses throughout the game, but trying to get Louisville a little bit off balance here.
Good defense by Mikasa Robinson. Almost forced turnover. Robinson getting some extended minutes this afternoon. For Louisville, Gabby Elliott back in. Danae McNeil checks out for the Tigers. McNeil hit the jumper and heads to the bench after giving Elliott a short break.
And that's one thing Amanda Butler has on this Clemson roster is depth. I mean, she likes to go pretty deep, 9-10 players deep, and a very even and balanced team in a sense as well, as far as she will put a number of players in depending on how the game is going, different combinations of players, and also keeping in mind that this is a new roster with Washington now available, Elliott as a freshman, so they're still trying to find that right combination, right rotation with the pieces they have.
But Elliott, that time, committed her 4th turnover, 11th of the game for Clemson. And that games this season, they've already turned it over at least 19 times, and they're well on that pace.
Yeah, Achilles heel for not just Clemson, but also Elliott. As Balagoon gets one to go. Balagoon, boy, her three-point shooting has not been good this year, and that's what she has been known for throughout her college career, even going back to Georgia Tech, but she has struggled. Good to see one go down.
She missed her first 2 before that one went in, which made Balagoon 3 of 21 for the season before that last one hit the bottom of the net. Clemson is yet to hit a 3, somewhat surprising for a team that has Kendall Spray on it.
But Kendall Spray, over their last couple of games, the 2 games that they have lost, she has not performed well. 0 for 7 from 3 in her last 2 is Spray. Numbers that you usually don't see when you talk Kendall Spray and three-pointers.
Dixon got it in a great spot.
Good composure there by Louisville when Clemson brought that pressure defense in, trying to force a turnover. They get the ball to the middle of the floor, and Dixon's a big target. Here's some pressure from Van Lith.
Ball goes out of bounds, stays with Clemson, but you see the teammates praising Van Lith. Boy, the freshmen have been so huge for this Louisville team.
See here, Clemson tries to press, but Mikasa Robinson, very poised, splits the defense, and then unselfish pass by Balagoon to get a higher percentage shot right around the rim.
Yeah, terrific job of just splitting that trap by Robinson. As we approach 3 minutes to play in the first half. Clemson has scored only 8 points in this quarter. Hank, turnaround, hit it. Well, Hannah Hank with 6 points off the bench. Van Lith getting it over to Kiana Smith. Who missed the shot. Again, Jeff Walls' team with his 10-point lead without Dana Evans. Picked up her 2nd personal foul late in the first quarter, and we have not seen her on the floor in this quarter, and they have actually extended their lead. Clemson has missed 6 of its last 7 shots. They're turning the ball over.
Can you imagine
Louisville's taking advantage?
If Louisville really did only have 7 players, as we were told at the top, and Dana Evans got in foul trouble?
Yeah.
I mean, that would not have been good for the Cards, but how about the players that have stepped up in this game?
Kiana Smith, Haley Van Lith picking up a lot of the scoring. There's Dana, who is having a terrific senior season. We had the game a week ago today where she had a new career high 29 points against Tennessee Martin the second time they played this year. They weren't even supposed to play once.
She is on every National Player of the Year list, is Evans. She is so hard to guard. And this time, Clemson's pressure deep. I mean, that performance Dana Evans put on against Virginia Tech on Thursday, she had lost an eyelash. And we all know how important her eyelashes are. And she was not happy because of the contact, lost an eyelash, but she pushed through it and got the win.
Robinson, a little bit too strong. Good rebound by Van Lith.
Boy, Van Lith so tough on the glass. Only 5'7", but is an excellent rebounder.
Spray continues to be cold from the outside. Gabby Elliott working with 3 Louisville Cardinals around her. Couldn't get it to go. Cochran, boys, a lot of contact. Finally a whistle. I think we say Cochran took steps.
And if that is Neek Cherry, 35 for Clemson, she is always in the right place at the right time, makes hustle plays. That time gets down the floor. And I believe that was a charge call on Cochran.
Elliott finding just a little bit of space. That's all she needed. Only the second basket of the game for Gabby, who their leading scorer, averaging 14 points. Inside a minute. Robinson, they're letting her shoot. She's missed a couple after hitting a shot from the outside.
And you wouldn't think Mikasa Robinson would be one of the first offensive options for Louisville when you've got Van Lith, you've got Smith. And not that you want to pass up an open shot, but you do want to find a higher percentage shot on the floor.
My goodness, turnovers continue to be an issue for Clemson. As you see, they now have a dozen. Louisville has scored 11 points off turnovers so far this afternoon. And
well, we talked about Dana Evans missing, but keep in mind, Delisha Washington is also out of this game for Clemson. So that's a primary ball handler missing for the Clemson Tigers against a very tough Louisville defense.
Washington went out after she got a technical foul. As 2 personals that have counted against her. Balagoon dribbled right into the double team, and Hank took it away. Now the shot clock's off for the Tigers. Trying to get it underneath to Hannah Hank. It's ticked out of bounds. Just 1.2 seconds left to go for Clemson to get a shot off. You need a quick shot. That's the person you want taking it. Elliott, a little wide left, and that's the...
That did not happen in their last 2 games that they lost against Georgia Tech and Miami. So some good things happening for the Tigers as well. But with Washington back out on the floor, I feel like they really needed her, and that contributed to some of those turnovers and the lack of offensive consistency. And boy, Elliott is struggling with her turnovers here in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the 5th turnover for Gabby Elliott, the leading scorer on this team, the freshman from Detroit. And Dana Evans back on the floor, hasn't been out there for a while. And her range knows no limits. That one just a little bit off the mark. Delisha Washington picks up her first rebound of the game. Robinson leading this team in rebounds. Washington leading her team in rebounds. Did not have a single one in the first half. Elliott trying to post up. Spray. Good give and go back to Bennett.
Really good read by Spray. I mean, she is going to get the defensive attention because she is such a great shooter. And when 2 players come at her, she found the open man. More trapping here by Clemson.
And Louisville did end the first half without scoring for the last 3.5 minutes, but enter Dana Evans in the second half.
And Mikasa Robinson is out on the floor. as a starter in the second half of this game. She played really well in the first half. I thought did some nice things for them on the defensive end. And foul here on Kiana Smith.
Kiana Smith picking up her first foul. So Balagoon and Cochran, usual starters, on the bench to start this second half in favor of Dixon and Robinson. Excuse me.
Is this the unit that started the game? I believe so.
Yeah. Yes, if you're just joining us, there was a little shakeup in the starting lineup. Only 7 players for Louisville warmed up. Elliott almost coughed it up again. Rebound ripped down by Dixon. And now Van Lith tries to get things going. Clemson, good job getting back initially. See Spray trying to force Evans to her left. She does that and gets the assist that Dixon blew. Evans, not just a scorer, right? She's such a good facilitator. Smart player.
Just understands timing, sees the floor well. Her IQ has continued to grow and get better, and her versatility. And just being able, it started really with her scoring, and she's become a better facilitator.
Didn't get Washington for a little foul. Her third personal foul on the perimeter. Picked up a technical in the second quarter and sat for the rest of it, and now she goes out after picking up her third personal. Van Lith bottled up, so she gets it out to Evans, who almost pulled the trigger.
Clemson in a zone defense here.
Oh, what a pass from Kiana Smith.
The timing and the angle on that pass had to be perfect because Bennett's long arms were there waiting to get a tip or deflection. Now it's Louisville changing up defenses in a little trapping zone.
The foul on the Cardinals, number 5, Mikasa Robinson, is her second. Team second.
Mikasa Robinson, though, was called for getting a little bit too close. And now Robinson with the defense on Elliott. I think she just picked up her third, so 2 quick ones on Mikasa. And that means Balagoon will come in. And Lith got a hand on it. Bennett, very short rebound. Balagoon just came into the game. Could not save it. "15 seconds to shoot." Thomas getting it over to Kendall Spray. She needs to shoot. Desperation shot. Nothing but air.
I was wondering where Clemson would go on that possession. Again, Washington not in the game right now. Elliott has struggled some with her passing, turning the ball over. You know, Amari Robinson, as we talked about earlier, is a player that hasn't been called on as much offensively this year, and she's going to take a breather here. But I think she could be someone that really helps them on the offensive end to get a little bit more connectivity.
A different position this year, a very different role. Louisville with the shot by Balagoon.
And no one stepped up on Balagoon. That's the kind of transition points you have to take away from Louisville if you want to have a shot. And Spray continuing to struggle from long range.
He's not hit a 3 in our last 3. We'll make that 2.5 games. Cherry from the outside. Balagoon picks up the miss, able to bring it up on her own.
Good transition defense that time by Clemson to get back.
Evans draws the double, passes out of it.
Yeah, they want to get the ball out of Dana Evans' hands. If you notice today, that is what Clemson has really been focused on when they can, is finding angles that they can trap Evans with some length and force her to give it up.
Evans has only taken 4 shots on the afternoon. As Clemson responds, first time we've seen Elliott hit a shot in a while.
And that's the best play for Elliott. I mean, we've been talking about her miscues in this game and his turnover. Don't turn it over. Take the ball full court. Don't pass it. And look to get to the rim. Again, she has shot over 50% in 5 of her first 6 ACC games of her career. I mean, she does this as well as anyone in this league.
Smith has it rim out, and a foul on the rebound coming up against Clemson. As Nick Cherry helps Van Lith up.
Going to the glass. Ranks second on the team in points and rebounds at 5'7". Van Lith has led the team in rebounding 4 times this season. And, you know, if you go to the glass, you never know. Clearly she's come up with a lot of rebounds. That time she got fouled. She is really tough. That's been probably the most surprising part of her game for me, is just how tough she is going to the glass, hitting the ground, bouncing back up. And good ball reversal there by the Cards.
And Kiana Smith with the finish on the other side for the 3. So Clemson has yet to hit one as a team. They are collective 0 for 9. Spray has taken 6 of those from beyond the arc, and it's a 14-point advantage. That is the biggest lead of the game for the Cards. Good defense. Van Lith just stopped Washington in her tracks. Hank gave him a nice boost off the bench in the first half, but that time met Olivia Cochran. Louisville with 5 blocks as a team. That does not count. There was a whistle. Here's now, and James J. Phillips will be stepping in to fill those very big shoes coming up in just a few weeks.
Yeah, everyone's sad but excited at the same time. Commissioner Swafford has been such a huge part of the success and the development and sustaining the excellence in the ACC. Definitely going to be someone we will miss, but a new era. Beautiful pass there coming out of the timeout. High-low to Cochran, who is such a big target, soft hands, and good finisher.
Dana Evans with another assist. Washington left it short, rebound tipped around, and it comes down Louisville's way. Evans almost. Check that. That's Balagoon now. She passes inside the post to Dixon. Puts on a multiple move. And then Balagoon drew the foul. Good work by Balagoon on this trip.
Dana Evans right here. He's got a defender in front of her, but seeing the floor really well. And you have to credit Cochran for moving and making herself an available target. But Dana Evans is not the tallest player on the floor. And so for her to see that pass, she's learned to put the right amount of air on it to get the right angles. She's only 5'6", but just does a nice job of seeing the floor.
Alicia Washington has just picked up her 4th foul. Balagoon at the free throw line with the miss. And Georgia Tech, they're not playing in this game. Clemson, on the other hand. Georgia Tech has not taken a free throw in this game, but neither is Clemson, and they're playing. And that continues to be part of the storyline. We're a team that gets to the line the most of any team in the country and has not taken a free throw this afternoon. They've not hit a 3 either. And that is a lethal combination. One reason why they only had 30 points.
Well, free throws almost cost Louisville a game at Virginia Tech. I mean, they put Tech on the line quite a bit. And Jeff Wall said he wants his team to defend without fouling. And boy, have they responded in this one.
Elliott can't get the follow to go. Hank has it ripped out of her hands by Cochran. Kono passed up the jumper, drove instead. Boy, Balagoon has been like a ball hawk this afternoon.
Yeah, this has been one of the better games for Balagoon. I mentioned this when we had them against UT Martin, but for a player that's known for her shooting, I mean, she was a prolific scorer at Georgia Tech and has had to take on a different role here at Louisville, but she has settled in without her scoring to doing the little things, rebounding, leading this team in blocks, just finding ways to impact the game with her energy and her hustle.
And that's the thing with this Louisville team. So much talent. A lot of freshmen who have come in and contributed right away. And it's taken these players. She transferred in from Georgia Tech. Kiana Smith transferred in from Cal. And they all have seemed to adapt to not necessarily being the big scorers anymore, just doing what they need to do on a very talented and deep Louisville team. Mertens. Her shot didn't go down, but Mertens was able to draw the foul, and we are about to see Clemson head to the free throw line for the first time in this game.
Mertens has exceptional quickness, and she is one that can get to the free throw line because of her aggressiveness and her speed. Good sign for Amanda Butler. I'm sure she can get off the officials now. They have made a trip to the charity stripe. And not to say that she's been on them, but I'm thinking, I'm putting myself in her place. It's been a quiet afternoon. And not that there have been a ton of fouls called either way, but.
The lane violation on Louisville, so Mertens has a second opportunity on the second shot. And she delivered. Mertens 2 for 2 on the line. Now a little bit of pressure after the make. But Van Lith handles it well.
And Mertens is face guarding Van Lith. Elliott is face guarding Dana Evans. Clemson is going to try to force Louisville to beat them without those two players as a part of it, with a complete face guard on the last possession.
Well, in that time, oh, that's a nice pass into Elliott. Good delivery, and now Elliott has a chance at a three-point play, but on that previous play was a great pass by Kono that set up the Cochran bucket.
Good back cut on the denial there. Dana Evans not allowing Elliott to catch it. And she finds a way to make him pay for the pressure.
Balagoon's foul. Elliott, three-point play.
More denial and full court man here from Clemson as they try not to allow Evans or Van Lith to catch the ball.
Nick Cherry kind of took her eye off Balagoon for a moment. Kono works herself free for the basket. Kono, the sophomore from Japan, missed the last 14 games last year with a knee injury.
And she is the player that I thought was a huge contributor in that win over Virginia Tech, and how she has found confidence in her three-point shot. Something she's worked on.
Oh, Cochran got another hand on the shot attempt. Mertens had it deflected away.
How much ground does Louisville cover defensively? The number of tips and deflections and contests. Wow.
Yeah, it looks like just when the Tigers think they have enough real estate to get a shot off, it closes up in a hurry. 6 block shots for Louisville this afternoon. Many more tips and deflections. You see Clemson's missed 6 of its last 7 shots. Just 9 points in this quarter. Make it 11 with that tough shot by Bennett.
Nice hook shot by Bennett. I mean, it's tough to get to your senior season sometimes and find that next level after a disappointing junior campaign, but Bennett has done that. And how about Spray taking the charge on Dana Evans?
It's a third personal on Evans.
Evans is on the drive, and from that angle, it looked like Spray got set outside the restricted area. Great anticipation.
Now Spray is bottled up by Van Lith.
5-second call.
And a 5-second violation. The freshman Van Lith with some good defense over there. Well, you're right about Van Lith. Here's a player who came in. Paige Beckers at UConn, probably the only other player that was getting more attention coming in as a freshman. But Van Lith showing that she's a lot more than just a scorer.
Freshman special. You know, he's had some in his program, including Van Lith. Comes in highly touted, all the accolades. Like, what is the difference with a freshman that can adjust to this level of play? And he said he just feels like they're getting more exposure at the high school level, AAU. Just talked about the international experience of his freshman class, and that adds to a level of confidence that translates to the college level.
Yes, Haley Van Lith and Olivia Cochran, two freshmen on the under-19 3-on-3 World Championship team. Invaluable experience there. He also has another freshman who we've not seen today, Marissa Russell, who plays on the Canadian senior team, was the youngest member of that senior team when they had some exhibitions last year, and that has got to help you. He says especially they get into those pressure situations. You mentioned the close game against Virginia Tech, and the freshmen certainly aren't playing like prototypical freshmen.
Well, and Jeff mentioned that he feels like high school basketball is getting better. I need to go to a game, because the last time I went to a high school basketball game, I was like, put a shot clock in here. This is crazy. I was not very impressed. So, and maybe I'm not out here watching the high-level teams that Jeff is watching, but I was like, woo, sending my thoughts and prayers to high school coaches, because it seems like quite a task.
Where were you watching that didn't have a shot clock?
I don't think high school basketball has one.
I had one when I played in the last 2 centuries, yeah.
I could be wrong, but it was a little while ago.
Bud.
I usually watch more AAU than I do high school, but yeah, from what I can remember. Getting over 100 points, and I do believe that this is definitely one of the more talented offensive teams that Jeff Walz has had, but I go back to the fact that this is a program that's always hung their hat on their tough defense, always. And Jeff Walz and his staff are some of the best game strategizers, game planners, scouters that you will see in the country. And they have really taken Clemson out of a rhythm here today.
Out of the timeout. More handoffs, but then Evans just flat out lost the basketball.
And that's probably the point, or the one thing I think that you're looking forward to from this Louisville team is before they took that break, they were a much better offensive team than we're seeing in recent games. And Jeff even spoke to us about that and how he feels like, you know, taking that break just did something to his squad in terms of their timing and their continuity, which you understand. And so you hope they get back to that as Elliott gets a nice layup, but they have definitely not been the offensive team that they were to start.
Louisville up 13 on the season. Amanda Butler's team on a 2-game skid as they come in to play a very good Louisville basketball team. One thing Clemson has done in the second half, they've cleaned up their turnovers, which hurt them in the first half. Elliott can't hit. Nick Cherry able to get inside.
That's what Clemson has done a nice job of, is rebounding. Louisville was in a zone to start there. And so it can be hard to rebound out of the zone, but they just can't get enough baskets to go.
Dixon with contact.
Danique Cherry just, wow, she is always in the right place.
Yeah, pardon me, that was Cochran.
Took a charge there on Cochran. Look here, this comes off of the rim, and I don't know. You know, that's a tough call, because to me, Cochran had not yet gained possession of the basketball. I mean, she's still going after the rebound, so I don't love that call.
Nick Cherry is one of Amanda Butler's favorites, says that she's coming off the best game of her career that she played against Georgia Tech. 9 points, 8 rebounds. Drew the foul on Cochran. Washington working on Robinson. Well, another good defensive sequence for the Cardinals. Clemson now 0 for 12 from beyond the line. And then Kiana Smith got grabbed by Cherry on her way to the basket. Second one on Neek. I like what Amanda Butler said about Neek Cherry. She said that unless you're somebody who studies the game or is from Mississippi, it's hard to appreciate what she does. Neek is from Laurel, Mississippi, and those Mississippians do like to keep tabs on their native basketball players. Cherry, a player whose statistics will never really make your eyes go crazy, but she contributes in so many different ways.
It's the little things, you know. I mean, everyone on the roster is not going to shoot the ball or get a play called for them every time down the floor. And so you have to figure out where you can impact the game. And Neek just has a good basketball IQ. I believe that was Dana Evans. Excuse me, that was Balagoon who hits another three. But Neek has just found a place on the court where she can help her team, and it's in hustle and making good plays.
Ball goes back to Louisville. Just going back to Balagoon. Coming into this game, Elizabeth had only made 3 of her first 19 threes on the season. She's 3 of 6 today.
I mean, Clemson was just slow to get out. Good screen by Cochran to give Balagoon some time, but they were not really rushing to get out there to contest that shot.
And Balagoon is another player that is some international experience playing with the Nigerian national team that actually qualified for the Summer Olympics that so far have not gone on. Qualifying for the first time. Missed some games last season while she was with her Nigerian club.
I think that Jeff Walls has told us about both Balagoon and Dixon, both Elizabeths coming as transfers from Georgia Tech, that they really had to relearn and learn kind of what it takes to play at this level. What I mean by that is that, you know, Louisville's a team that's consistently in the top in the country, right? And so just culturally it's very different. And Georgia Tech was competitive. I mean, it's a bit of a jump. And so they had to come in and really just become students of the game again. And both of them have had bright moments. But I think Dixon is definitely one of the more improved Elizabeths on this team this year.
A couple of really good Elizabeths. And Kendall Spray missed another 3. 0 for 7 now for Kendall from beyond the arc in this game. This is good. Well, just going to say Kendall's on track to go 3 straight games now without hitting a 3, and that's her forte.
Well, the thing about Kendall Spray's threes is it's not just 3 points. Like, she gives this team energy. Like, everyone celebrates when she hits a 3. She's leading NCAA in active career 3-pointers made, as Balagoon may have found her stroke.
Yeah, I tell you, Balagoon might want to give Kendall some pointers right about now.
But, boy, you just hope that Spray can work herself out of this. And it's up to her teammates as well to help her get better looks. But they need her 3-point energy.
Oh, my, that was an emphatic block by Balagoon. Louisville 7th in the nation in blocks coming into this game, averaging just over 6 per game. And they have 8 today.
Once again, Louisville defense crowding Gabby Elliott. There has been hands poking at her and bodies around her the entire afternoon. And they have been very disruptive to the freshman.
Shot clock into single digits.
If Balagoon would have hit that one, the plays would have really went off. I think they've got, what, about 2,500 fans in the building, something like that, I believe.
Yeah, they're allowed about 15% capacity, which is no more than 3,000 for any game. Under the COVID regulations, each jurisdiction, local jurisdiction, able to come up with what they think is best. As you can take a look, the KFC Young Center, hands down, one of the best places to watch women's college basketball in the country. It's a great building. The fans are loud. It's just tremendous. A lot going on in the area outside of the hotel, but much more subdued. A lot of cutouts. Is there a LaChina Robinson cutout here? Maybe it made its way from Wake Forest to Louisville.
Wait, did you say the area outside of the hotel? What are you doing out in the area outside of the hotel?
Well, the hotel, which is near the arena, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, what you been doing out here?
Both things were accurate, but I probably should have said the hotel. How about Kiana Smith? Got off to a really good start. Played a couple of years at Cal and has just stepped in seamlessly. Had 21 points in that whitewashing, 116 points that went against DePaul. And has just been really steady for them. Came out great this afternoon, especially after Evans got into foul trouble.
Well, they've known, when Kiana Smith came to Louisville, had to sit out a year, that year that she spent with the team, but was unable to play, she still had an impact as a leader, as a floor general, as someone who just understands what the disposition of a winning culture looks like. And not necessarily because she had won a ton of games at Cal, but because that's who she is. She's a winner in her personality, has been her entire career. And they were just excited for what she would do on the floor from that standpoint. But then she's added some points and some defense to go along with it. Boy, Mari Robinson just off on that one. Those are the kind of buckets you got to be able to land when you're right around the cup.
Yeah, Robinson with just 2 points this afternoon.
Nice post by Dixon. Good body position, pushing the defense out of the lane, really begging for the basketball.
Elizabeth Dixon, 10 points and 8 rebounds this afternoon. Got the start over Cochran. Spray has now missed 15 straight threes. Yeah, pardon me, that was not Spray. That was Veronica Hipp, number 4, not number 3 for Clemson. Sorry, Kendall. You've only missed 14 straight threes.
How nice of you, Pam.
Well, I don't want to...
Don't want to put another miss on her on the stat sheet.
There's Hipp.
It's gotten a little sloppy from both teams these last couple of minutes, but Washington able to get the putback.
Inside 4 minutes to go. Louisville in control, only led by 1 after the first quarter. Had a nice second quarter and have not looked back since. Van Lith can't get it to roll in. There's Hipp with the rebound. True freshman from Poland who went to high school in Florida. Oh, another block. Is that Dixon? And then Evans couldn't finish on the other end. 9 blocks.
With a great block there. She's got some long arms. There are times when I watch her up and down the floor where at least her body and sometimes just the way she looks on the court reminds me of Tina Charles.
Wow.
Look at those arms. And not to say that she's that caliber of a player, but just in terms of how she looks on the court.
Kiana Smith. Yep.
That's some defense.
That is a good afternoon for Elizabeth Balagoon, who is 3 of 7 from three-point range. Louisville has only made 4 as a team. Oh, excuse me, that's not right. I'm looking at the wrong one. 8 as a team, pardon me, and Elizabeth has half of them. Clemson, meanwhile, about to fall for the 3rd straight game. ACC just so brutal. And they're playing Louisville, and Amanda Butler said that a tough way to break, if you want to break a losing streak, playing Louisville is not a great plan. And they certainly have seen that today. But she was also talking about how there are real opportunities to grow when a team struggles. And she is giving them some lessons. Robinson with the miss.
You gotta love Amanda Butler's outlook, her attitude. I mean, she always feels encouraged, energized, positive about whatever situation her team is facing or whatever predicament they may be in. What a basket by Evans. Very acrobatic there on the finish. But, yeah, she absolutely said they have an opportunity to get better. And they have in a couple of ways. I mean, they didn't turn the ball over as much as the game went on. I thought their offense did get stagnant. Not sure what the rebound numbers are now, but at some point rebounding is tied, actually, which is a good sign after they got out-rebounded the last two. Amari Robinson corrals one there. But, you know, this is a team that's led in scoring by a freshman. And so that just speaks volumes for the youth on this team. I thought Washington picking up that technical foul at that time was critical. And so you come on the road at Louisville, you learn some lessons. Hannah Hank, I thought, had an impressive outing offensively. I thought Bennett did some things on offense. They do need their post to contribute. And so it's the point in the season where it's still very early. You got to learn some lessons. You're playing number 2 at their place on the road and take some bumps and go back to the drawing board.
Amari Robinson, just her 3rd point of the afternoon after she was fouled by Van Lith. Robinson, 1 of 4 from the floor, does have 4 rebounds, but much more involved in the offense last year. But Coach Butler said that Amari couldn't care less. She just wants to win, just wants to do and play whatever role Coach Butler puts her in. And now Skylar Blackstock comes in, a notable story with Joy Williams and her family, and they all became advocates for voting rights. And that resonates even to this very day.
Yeah, Joy's position is Director of Quality Control on this staff, but you're right, the story is just an incredible one. There's a podcast introducing Buried Truth, which talks about her grandfather and how Emory students actually helped to find his grave site many years after that murder that you mentioned had happened. And boy, I mean, the whole thing is just, when you think about the history of voting in our country and how at some point, you know, black men and women were killed as they were looking to go to vote or to exercise their freedom. And yeah, just a story that we can't do justice on this broadcast, right. But it's an incredible one.
Yeah, it's certainly worth checking out. And Joy Williams on the staff for Clemson.
Her mom, Dorothy Nixon Williams, probably at home watching. It was her dad. Was the one that actually went to the gravesite that was found and thanked those students at Emory.
Yeah, they won quite a prize, right? It was award-winning.
Yes.
So good for the students at Emory, and I know her mom was very moved by that. I mean, I watched it, and it just gave me chills. It's just an amazing story, so everybody should check that out.
And that was September 1948 when Isaiah Nixon was killed.
Because he voted.
Because he voted.
Terrible. And the perpetrators were not found guilty. Anyway, check it out. So here we go. A minute left to go in this game. The Louisville Cardinals. A game that was pushed back a couple of hours as they were awaiting some COVID test results, which is just the way things go this year. Louisville, again, did not do anything for 18 straight days after they got off to such a great start to this season. But an impressive win today. Dana Evans didn't play at all in the second quarter because of foul trouble. It's just like, next player in for Coach Walls' team.
It's a luxury to have depth and to have players that have gotten better. I mean, Balagoon having a big game today helps Kono, who I can't say enough how much I love her game and how big I think she will be as a factor to how deep Louisville is able to go this season into March, and I'm sure they hope April, but also the poise of their freshmen, Van Lith and Cochran. A little different place in the rotation for Cochran today, but she found her way and contributed. So many players. Mikasa Robinson stepping in defensively and setting the tone. Just a lot to be impressed with today for Louisville.
And just 45 points scored by Clemson. They were 0 for 19 beyond the arc.